Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the May 26, 1997 edition of Raw is War, and the match card is as follows. You're going to have to stay with me. There's a bunch of them on this one.
Oh, man, it's
We
crazy.
have the Legion of Doom taking on the Hart Foundation, Brian Pillman, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. We have D'Lo Brown taking on Bob Holly. Jerry the King Lawler takes on Goldust in a King of the Ring qualifying match. Rocky Maivia takes on Flash Funk. Ahmed Johnson takes on Vader. Hunter Hearst Helmsley takes on Rockabilly.
No rockability whatsoever, to be honest.
No, to be honest, the ability to rock is... I don't even think Jack Black could do anything with that. So, like, if I'm being perfectly honest, not even the
There's
School
no
of Rock
help
can
for
help.
him. The School of Rock cannot help him.
And in our main event, we had Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart, and the British Bulldog for the WWF Tag Team Champions.
This episode was crazy.
This episode was crazy. It moved at a quick clip. Like, there was a lot going on, and they didn't really, like, there was no backstage segment that, like, went on for too long.
God bless.
Like,
God bless.
I think they're learning the sweet spot as far as, like, how far they can just drag us out for these things.
Yeah.
And I think they've learned it's better to, like, leave and go back than it is to try and just do the whole thing.
Edge me, tease. I'm saying.
That's
Also,
what I'm saying.
You were ferocious while we were watching this. So quick. Xavier hasn't been feeling well. Today is the day he's like bounced back, and Xavier slept for 3 days and woke up and chose violence. Not even that. It's just like, it's almost like your brain like was just like so clicked on, because every 5 seconds I was like
the synapses were really firing today.
The first note that I have is Xavier barking at the intro.
So we all know the Raw's War intro where they're like fighting in a warehouse
with
and,
fire.
Like, I don't know what it was about like the dogs barking that really like took me today, but like I was just like, I got that dog in me. You gotta do it.
I got that dog in me today. Slept for 3 days and woke up with that dog in me.
Listen, the Lord did whatever he did after 3 days. I barked. I don't know.
He rose, but I came with the fierceness. Like, I came to fight.
No, amen. I do want to give a quick shout out to my roommate Kevin, who was gifted. If you're watching the YouTube video, if you're just listening, you're just gonna have to imagine. So behind me is some very large wrestling action figures of Rey Mysterio and John Cena. They were gifted to him. He thought I would get better use out of them, and I'm loving that. I have not received more toys in my 30 years than in like recent history.
In like literally the last like 3 months.
No, actually.
That is so funny.
Keep it coming. I live for when people tell me that like they see wrestling and think of me. There is no higher compliment to me than being the wrestling guy to you all. Like,
I know, and amen. I started getting wrestling memes on my Instagram. The algorithm, the schmalgorithm is really like, wouldn't you enjoy this? And I'm like, it turns out I would. I certainly would. Thank you. I'll take another.
Enough.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks, Kevin. Oh my God. Love you.
Honestly, shout out to Kevin. I'll see you when I get home.
Shout out to Kevin.
So, all right, let's get into this. There was a lot. There's a lot to get into.
My very second note is the Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, so Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out and he is just his typical Austin 316 like shirt, but he's just in his like wrestling like tights. So he comes out and immediately I'm just like, love the Winnie the Pooh. And for those of you who are not familiar or part of the Alphabet Mafia, it is it is when you wear a top but no bottoms. And this is as close to Stone Cold Steve Austin fulfilling that fantasy for me as we were gonna get. So I had to say something.
Oh my, and it took me like half a second, and then I was like, oh my.
There's always like a moment of disappointment when you actually realize what I'm saying.
Oh my, it's like one strike of disappointment followed by just like absolute hilarity, as God intended.
All right. So yeah, so Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, he's in the ring. Shawn Michaels then comes out in just a wonderful Homer Simpson cutoff. Sure.
So random.
So weird and random,
but love.
It did remind me of this this video clip. I don't know. It's they're like in Brett's house or whatever, and he's just like it's like way past, like he's retired at this point, whatever. But he's like looking at all of his like memorabilia, like he's in his like whatever room, his like nostalgia
the trophy room, the whatever,
and he has all of these like action figure things from when he was on The Simpsons. And I just remember him calling out like a bunch of wrestlers and was just like, you were never on The Simpsons. And I was just like, okay, Brett.
Like, okay, Brett. That's like, the notch in your belt you want to rest your laurels on. Okay.
Like it was just so weird and random, and this just made me think of that.
I didn't know if he was like trying to poke fun at somebody, like, because you know Brett was in the wheelchair and maybe he was like withering away, like I don't know, but or it was just like an aesthetic choice for funsies, and either way it's delightful. So
I love it. So JR essentially goes into the ring and asks them, he's like can you two coexist? Is that like even possible? And immediately they're like fighting over who's the captain. They're like as the captain of this team. And then of course Shawn being Shawn is like, who made you captain? And I'm like, oh Jesus
and Stone Cold just goes, shut up.
No, yeah.
Like not even like shut up. He was just like, shut up.
No. Stop talking. So much yap. So clearly we know that they are not on the same page. We then knew this. They were literally beating the holy hell out of each other all of last week. And it seems like we're gonna be en route for more of that when the Legion of Doom comes out. Love to see it. Love to see it. They get right in their face, and essentially they're like, if you can pull this off, we want next. Yeah, essentially they're not mincing any words. They were just like, they're gonna cheat till the end of time to keep those belts, but if you win, we're next. Just so you know.
I love that they do that. I love LOD. They never waste time doing anything. They're like, oh, you know what? And they had a match coming up anyway, so they were supposed to go to the ring anyway. They're like, you know what? Those two goons are in the ring. Let's just go up there and make sure we got next while we're here.
No, 100%.
Love that.
So our first match is the Legion of Doom taking on two members of the Hart Foundation, Brian Pillman and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. This is the first time Kelsey has seen Brian Pillman wrestle, period, at all. And then really this is the first time you've seen Jim wrestle, because last week he wrestled Stone Cold in like the main event, but it was like maybe 2 minutes long. Like so really the first time you're seeing the both of them. This match, Pillman looked like just like out of sorts. Like,
oh my god, thank you. Because I was like, this is my first time seeing him wrestle, and the whole time I was just like,
no, because he's normally like known for being like really athletic, really like on the higher flying side of things, and it just like he just kind of got like bulldozed. Like there's like a lot of spots where it was just like really clunky. Like I think Hawk tries to like do like a running clothesline like over the top rope, and Pillman just like takes it at like a weird angle. He's like stuck between the ropes, like can't get out of it, like just like hits the deck. You're like, I don't think this is I literally just have a note that says Pillman looking messy.
I literally wrote this was messy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also, you know, Brian Pillman's been out for a long time. Jim Neidhart's been out for a long time. They haven't really been like doing it like out in an actual match. And so it just felt like it was their first day back. Like they were getting their sea legs again, which was, but it was apparent. And also, like Xavier and I both noticed that Brian Pillman looked as though he was like really skipping leg day. And I know he had a leg injury, but it was literally to the point where like his legs were so thin and like his upper body was so beef. It was like he was almost gonna like tilt
it's just like seeing
over. Like I don't.
The thing that like really got me is like probably from the injury, like it just looked like one leg was just significantly like just thinner than the other, which I mean I get it. When you're in a cast for that long, your muscles will atrophy, like I get that.
Yes, of course.
However, it just like was jarring. I just wasn't expecting him to be. I was like, oh, but you're out here, like you're back, you're
back
in here. Got it. Okay, got it.
It was clunky.
Yeah.
And like LOD normally I feel like can make anybody look good. I mean, think of the match they had with PG-13.
That's what I'm saying.
Incredible. Amazing. Right. Like so good. And so I was just like, if I feel this way about watching this and it's LOD, I don't know. I just was like, this was kind of
And either way, the match essentially gets tossed right out the window because all of the Hart Foundation comes in as soon as LOD is like doing anything of magnitude. They come in and just wreak havoc as they do. And of course, Austin and HBK come back, which leads to a little skerfuffle when I know, what a word.
I love
Austin is on the outside dealing with members of the Hart Foundation, and Shawn Michaels baseball slides just into the back of Austin, knocking him down. They get into it, and then they start fighting. And then all of the stooges from the back have to come out, all of the referees. It's a mess. And basically, we're just left with like, how are these two going to get it together to function?
But speaking of referees, it's at this precise moment that Xavier dropped what might be, and of all the crazy things that happened in this episode, this might be the craziest. So if you guys have been watching, you know that we love Earl, the ref, love. And we talked about one time when Earl, quote unquote, Earl came out in like a suit or like his like civilian clothes and was like breaking up a match, and we were like, Earl was outside smoking a cigarette talking to some girls, and was like, ah, dang, I gotta get in there.
This whole lore that we've made of
Earl. And Xavier goes, oh, by the way, remember when we were talking about how like Earl came out in like, a suit that one time or whatever and not ref clothes? And I was like, yeah. He goes, so it turns out Earl has a twin.
I didn't know until very recently either.
Earl has a twin.
Yeah.
But they are like identical.
Yeah. It really threw me also, because I was just like, what? And then I remember, I think it was like last week, I was looking at Earl's like page or something. I was, looking up the deets on Earl. And then it was just like, because I know his son, Brian, is also a referee. So I knew that was a thing. But then I saw like on this thing, it was like twin brother. And I was like, you're joking.
No.
What? And then it's literally, So I had no idea.
That is so crazy. Because also, I've never seen two Earls. Like, I've never seen them both in the same room, so I've never questioned it. I'm just
I'll try and like point that out. Although I did make that joke about Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Animal, Road Warrior Animal, that I've never seen them in the same ring until this point. So like they could just be the same person.
Which is honestly so real. It's so real. They really could be. That is crazy. But that is shocking information. I'm sorry to Earl's evil twin. I had no idea you were out here.
The fact that we just didn't acknowledge your existence at all.
Made up a whole lore about Earl, and you're the one out here serving the leather jacket and the button-up vibes. That's my bad.
If only. You live and you learn, Next we get another installment of Sunny's Search and Soak, this time featuring the Honky Tonk Man,
No
because
one
if
wanted
there
to
was
see that.
anything I needed more in this scenario, it was an Elvis impersonator.
If there's anything I needed more in the situation, it's just Honky Tonk Man just wet.
Yeah.
I didn't need it.
And she's just like, do you still like the wet hair look? And he's like, of course, I'm Elvis. And then she just like soaks him, and then that's it. That's the whole gag.
And she's like, haha, hee hee, wetter is better. And we're like,
Ah,
okay.
okay. Rip Sunny's
Free my
career.
dog.
Like, what is this? So after that, we cut to Paul Bear backstage, and basically he has alluded to the fact that should anything happen to him, he has given the secret to his attorney, so that if anything happens to him, it will be released upon his demise. I'm like, what a contingency plan. Love that.
I'm trying
Sure.
to do no, honestly, I'm trying to do something like that, something crazy.
No, 100%. Like when I croak, I want like just like everybody to get like the same email, or like, you know what I mean?
Send out the email chain. That is something I'm trying to do.
It's the song from the end of the Wizard of Oz, like the Wicked Witch is dead. Like it's that one.
Ding dong. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. See, I'm trying to do something diabolical, like say it's under the floorboards with no context and not
Very
specify
of you.
what house.
Yeah.
So like they might go to like my childhood home and like start ripping up floorboards for fun, like looking for whatever it is. But there is nothing, and I never specify anything, and they never find
it. Well, it's something to look forward to.
Aren't you hoping that I predecease you now so you can take part in the scavenger hunt knowing there's nothing there?
I was
watch
like,
all my loved ones rip each other to shreds.
I don't know. I'm damned. I might not ever end.
We're knowing us, a lightning strike is going to take both of us out at the same time.
Oh my god.
Neither can live while the other survives.
How glorious.
That's the most we can hope for at this point, to be real.
Amen. Amen. So essentially, Paul Bear is just giving an ominous warning. He's like, the clock is ticking. Before the program is over, I will either reveal the secret, or the Undertaker's like coming home with me. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, and he also mentioned all the aesthetic changes he's going through, because he said, redemption arc, go full ginger.
Mm-hmm.
He just his natural hair is
fire
out.
Turned his hair red.
No, for like literally, it comes from within now. It just grows right out the scalp, fresh from nature.
Yeah, and he's Mr. Heat Miser.
He really is.
The way he has the same body type as Mr. Heat Miser from A Year Without a Santa Claus. Tell me I'm wrong. I'll sit here and I'll wait for anybody to debate me that that's not the same man.
I've never seen them in the same room together. If he just spikes up that hair, he's Mr. Green Christmas, and that's that on that. That's crazy.
Oh, Mr. 101. Absolutely.
Oh my Jesus. Oh my god, unbelievable.
So, yeah. So next we get the debut of D'Lo Brown. This is like about time. We've been saying, like, stop letting D'Lo just take all these bumps and get him in a match.
Swear, it's so true. And he was amazing for what I saw, because there's a lot that happens on commentary that's very distracting.
Yes,
but from what I saw, I mean, he is so good, and he was up against Bob Holly, and I always love to see Bob Holly. So
Bob Holly coming over the upset over Owen Hart the week prior in his hometown.
Love.
Yeah. Farouk joins us on commentary, and then it is essentially off the rails from there.
Yeah.
He really cuts to the quick. He sits down on commentary and he goes, "Let me ask you a question, Vince." And I was like, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
He's like, when you found out that I was going to be the #1 contender. Like, what did you think, honestly? And he's like, oh, I thought that was it will be like a great match. He's like, I don't think so. He's like, I think I think you fear me being the first black champion. And then he goes in and just lives on that topic. He goes
we get a discourse in like race theory. We get like a whole like the genesis of racism, how it's still like in every aspect of life, including the World Wrestling Federation. And let me say this, like, not a lie was told. It just was like unexpected. And I keep wondering if like Vince knows this is like happening or like that he is. It's an absolute clinic, but it is so out of the blue and like just so like has nothing, like, I don't want to say it has nothing to do with the match, because it definitely has a lot to do with wrestling, especially at the WWE. But it like there's zero commentary on the match. Not a word of commentary on the match. And that's why I kept like, and it was so many like
there was like, at one point Farouk asks Vince McMahon, he's like, were there slaves in America? And Vince is like, yeah. He's like, what color were they? And I was like, I was like, Vince, you kind of gotta answer the question. like,
no,
like, you
true.
Can't just
like,
not.
And then Vince has to. Then Vince makes it worse because he has to be
so
like,
much worse.
Don't you think all your words? Because he's saying like, you know, Farouk is talking about how like, you know, we didn't even want to be here. We were living in our own country, and you dragged us people. And Vince just says like, don't you think you're being patronizing to the blacks?
Yes. Yeah.
Vincent.
Yeah.
Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
I wish. There's so many things I wish.
Yeah.
That was not. I wish. Why? Okay. I don't even know what to say to that.
Right.
And I was just okay.
I really would have just appreciated your stunned silence more than whatever this was, because at least your stunned silence is typical.
Yes, and like almost appropriate, because it's like, what do you say to these things? Because it's not like they're not true,
right?
Like, but also I don't know. I was just like, that's not, of all the things you could have said. Wish it hadn't been the one thing you definitely should not have said.
Wish it wasn't the one thing you definitely said.
Yeah, you definitely said, and definitely #1 thing you should not have said.
Yeah.
Horrible. But yeah, zero commentary on the match whatsoever. Not even like, this is D'Lo Brown. That like literally not even like one
couldn't even get into it.
Not a lick. Not a minute.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is like it's D'Lo Brown's first match. Like it's his first one, and like not a word was uttered about him.
And that breaks my heart, because like,
because it was he's so athletic. Like he's so athletic. Like he's got the spin kicks, he's got the power. He like to end the move, he does like this beautiful power, like sit down power bomb, and it's so like good. It's so good, and you're just so like good. We didn't get to see, or we didn't get to talk about any of it.
I know,
and it's like, not that I like, again, no lies were told from Farouk.
That's what I'm saying. Not a lie told.
But I was like, this is the newest member of your team making their debut on your behalf. And you couldn't do it during
the promo.
And you couldn't even give him you couldn't even put him over on the mic. You barely even acknowledged that he was in the ring. So
yeah, the only acknowledgement he made was like, this is what you want to see. You want to see a black man and a white man fighting. You want to see them be violent with each other, but I'm sitting at this table and I'm trying to be your friend, or like whatever it was. And it's like, okay, again, no lies told, but go like do this expose during the promo when like people are actually like focusing on you and what you're saying. And like you said, like hype up D'Lo first match. Like, he's amazing. He's been taking hits for you for months and months and months. Like, at least call a single move. Like, at least call one move. Something.
Yeah, I think it's just like, put over your boy. Like, come on.
That's what I'm saying.
So, what are we gonna do? Again, it's not the content. It is just the timing that we were just
Yes. Absolutely.
Because I love to see Vince McMahon stumped. That's
love to see him flounder.
no, yeah,
Love to see him flounder with the monster of his own making.
No, absolutely. Hello?
Love.
Please. That is literally the story of his life.
Yeah.
But and then we get we cut to like a backstage promo with the Undertaker. It starts off real rocky because there's like technical difficulties. So like you can't really hear him. And then like by the time they like figure out the mic situation, they're like cutting away from him. And then there's like a promo screen for like the next match, and then we're like, what's going on? And then like we'll go back to it. And essentially the Undertaker's asked about Farouk. And he's like, I got 2 weeks to deal with Farouk. I have less than an hour to deal with Paul Bearer. So I'm gonna focus on that, and we'll get back to
I could really learn something from that mentality.
Yeah.
Like this is the pressing issue. This is what I need to focus on, not what's happening 2 weeks from now. I can really learn something from that. Short, sweet, to the point. Also,
Undertaker teaching present moment awareness. Who would have thunk?
Oh my god, he said, "Take a deep breath."
Honestly, so next we have Jerry the King Lawler taking on Goldust with Marlena. This is a King of the Ring tournament match, first round match, and Jerry.
Oh, Jerry.
So we get a backstage promo from Jerry.
Wish we hadn't.
Out of the gate, unnecessary completely. Out of the gate, he's back on calling Goldust a sissy for showing emotion and crying during his little interview. And we're just like, okay, we're still on this. Got it.
Not news.
And then he goes on, he starts talking about like, oh, like I know your old man, Old Dust, as he calls him. And I know why he hates you. He's like, you married the biggest gold digger in Georgia, in reference to Marlena. And then and I'm gonna say it because I'm part of the Alphabet Mafia. He says, and then you put on a woman's wig like a flaming faggot on national television. You have got to be out of your ever-living gourd. Sir.
Like, and with ease.
And the way
too comfortable saying that.
And the way that you a year ago were like, queer, and like
couldn't even get the word.
And now you're dropping like the hard F. Please get me out of here.
The F slur. You are crazy.
You're crazy.
You are crazy. Like too comfortable. I was like, okay, if you're saying that with ease on national television, what are you saying with your close confidants? Because I'm sure hate crimes are happening in multiple phrases like that.
That's what I was just like. I was just like not expecting it to go that far. Like I get it. Like he's supposed to be like this like machismo, like representative of this machismo, blah 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 blah. But like,
not that.
It's so like you have nothing else. It's just like you have been literally on this same train for over a year now. Like you have no other gripes with Goldust other than what he gives you to ick. Like what is it? Like what is it that why are you so obsessed? Like why do you care so much?
And honestly, that's from an outsider of the Alphabet Mafia, that is to me like the craziest part of homophobia, because there really isn't like a real reason. Like I just like me living bothers you that much, like by just existing. Like no, that's really crazy.
And not for nothing, I've always found the ones that are the most bothered.
Well,
welcome to the Mafia.
Yeah, so you're a made man, girl. I mean, I don't. It's so tired, first of all. And even in 1997, what is this, 97? Yeah, I'm sorry. It was even tired then, to be real. Right. Like this isn't even like
well, no, we're on the other side of the AIDS crisis. Like please, like
it's a thing.
Let's stop.
And
like
Yeah, it's just, to me, again, it's boring, it's low-hanging fruit. It's just like, I don't know. And also Xavier aired me out because he was like, not you. He was like, not you saying the F word and you're dressed like a doily.
No, the way I was livid. I was like watching this man's match. I was like, first of all, what right do you have coming out here just looking like that? What is that print? What is
The
that print?
brocade, yeah, the gold foil like brocade. Like, please.
Don't even.
Calling yourself the king and that and then behaving the way you do, actually probably par for the course. And that's why I say, down with the monarchy, but
Shoot.
real
So
crazy.
the match continues. It's really the first time, like, we've seen Jerry wrestle here and there, but they're usually pretty quick. They're usually not.
I was expecting him to get spanked and we move along. Like, I was expecting,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what happens every time. Like, even
Hmm.
King of the Ring, he was in and out 30
Right.
seconds.
So,
And yeah, I was shocked by this.
yeah. So the match is you kind of get a glimpse of who Jerry is. Um, really well known for the pile driver. Really well known for being kind of just like a thinking man's wrestler. He's kind of like a cheat. He takes advantage. He's just kind of that's his shtick. Always has been. Um, we do get the Goldust in the corner kiss. Love to
Thank
see
God.
it. Love to
Needed it.
see it. Yeah, I just love to see it because like
Yeah.
for opening your
I,
mouth.
I will say what bummed me out, and like it just is what it is. This is like my own personal feelings and it doesn't really matter. But like, I have never seen so many people be such big fans of Jerry. And I guess like because he wrestles they were in Evansville, Indiana. I guess because he wrestles there a lot. Like, that's what they were saying. So he has like a following there. But I
Hmm.
was like, it is so crazy when like you just witness someone say something so heinous and then have people absolutely laud them.
Right.
Like, I've never, because I've also just never seen so many people actually be fans of Jerry generally, no matter what he says.
Right.
But this especially, where I was like, that was like so heinous, and like people are literally like, Lawler is God, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, ooh, that's icky. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bit of a bummer. Bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
No hate to Indiana, Evansville, Indiana. I'm not trying to like shit on your life. It was just
No, but
jarring
I
to
mean,
experience
you
even
also
just
gave us like who? Mike Pence? Like what? Like I'm sorry. Um, I'm just spitting facts. You
I'm
haven't yet,
just
but you will. Like who's not exactly known for his LGBT rights. So like
Djibouti.
uh so
Well, anyway,
So Lawler picks up the victory by stacking Goldust in the corner,
hate
using
it.
the ropes for leverage,
Hate it.
cheating. So Goldust, big pissed, follows Jerry and his doily ass up the ramp,
Duh.
gets in front of him, knocks him down the ramp, to which Jerry just oversells his way all the way to the bottom of the ramp.
He worked for that. He
No,
worked
honestly,
for that.
just in time for Marlena to just she, as if Jerry had laid himself down over a puddle for her.
Ah,
Just stomped on him and kept walking.
amen. Amen. The glory of God before you. Like,
Mm.
literally as if Jesus walked on water was what I envisioned.
Oh, it was
And
beautiful.
and the way that we, because also earlier Jerry he had like said some slick words to Marlena, and then he had gotten knocked out the ring, and she wasted no time, walked over, slapped him.
Hmm.
No preamble, no prelude. She said, "Oh, you're right here." Slap.
She
Love
said,
to see
"You
it.
know what you said."
You know what you said, and you know you deserve this, because he didn't even retaliate. He was like, "Oops, got," and like,
Yeah,
that's it.
because like imagine how many times in his life that is like a regular occurrence.
Yeah, he's used to that by now. Like, the cheek is getting calloused up. But
Mm.
yeah, that was they first of all, Goldust and Marlena both looked, good. Like, Goldust had this like crazy plumage costume, like
Hmm.
came out, the hair, the makeup, everything amazing. And then Marlena obviously looked incredible. And for her to just like step on him
So good.
walking out, is just
She said,
is
"You
what I
ain't shit.
needed.
You
Is
ain't
what I
shit."
needed. You ain't shit. Not
Uh,
even for the bottom of my shoes.
mm-mm.
Love to see it.
Then we cut back to Stone Cold in the locker room area, and again he's asked like, "What are your chances, really? Like, we're really like hammering home this like this is unlikely." When he's then ambushed by the entire Hart Foundation, only to find out that Shawn was also ambushed by the entire Hart Foundation. They start yelling at each other because, like, for some reason, they can't really seem to put together that it is them.
Right. Like we're fighting the wrong. They're doing the divide and conquer, and it's working, and we need to regroup and reevaluate the
Right,
needs.
100%. But alas, so they're still at each other's throats. TBD. And our next match is Flash Funk, sans the Funkettes, I guess they're gone, taking on Rocky Maivia. And the best part about this, and also the weirdest part about this, is that the headbangers come out. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this episode. They were really trying to sell that like blow up King of
Oh
the Ring,
my
King
God.
of the
I
Ring
have
like
to
chair.
find I have to find this chair and see if anyone still has it online.
It is
When
a $60 like inflatable
no,
blow up chair that is
no.
just covered with the King of the Ring like logo. Um, but anyway, I say that because there was a commercial about it. The Headbangers came out during this match with them specifically to like sit on them and like just act a fool on commentary because they weren't like they were on commentary but they were having their own separate sidebar. Like it was like
Nothing
they
to do
were
with the mat. Yeah.
no, they were there. They didn't need headsets. I don't know why they were like
Yeah,
here.
that was really random to give them headsets.
Um,
The way they tried to sell these chairs that I wouldn't have even paid a cute $25 for is
no,
crazy.
100 like out like found a 20 like literally in my pocket wouldn't even
Wouldn't
like
even, wouldn't even,
I
wouldn't
was just
even.
it's just a blow up chair. Like it's fine, but like what are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
So the headbangers come out. They're on an inflatable chair. They're having a party at ringside. Why? I don't know. Um, they're just like talking absolute nonsense, putting him into. All I know is at one point they call Flash Funk the Rhinestone Cowboy, and I died.
Yeah.
um,
I love the headbangers, but no one loves the headbangers quite like Xavier does because everything they said I would look over at him and he'd be
they're
like
so
just like
stupid. They're
like
so dumb. I love the headbangers. I just
yeah.
think they're their whole aesthetic is just like we're here for a good time, and I love it.
Honestly, amen. Yeah,
Could
that's very
not be
true.
bothered to think about anything serious, and I love that.
True. It's
um,
very true.
so they do get involved after Flash Funk launches himself over the top rope onto Rocky Maivia on the outside. Somehow manages to like bang his elbow on the ramp. Mess looked horrible, and then the headbangers come in and just start attacking both of them. So that the ref like didn't know who to disqualify. And then one of the headbangers hits Flash Funk in the head with the radio, like a boombox, like in your eyes, and like just knocks him, sends him back in the ring. Rocky Maivia hits him with a crossbody, picks up the victory, and then we're all just like confused as to
It
like
was
what
very
just happened.
confusing. Very confusing. And I don't even know why, like, the headbangers just interfered for fun. Like, and nothing, like, it's not like it was a tag team. It's not like they're friends with anybody there. Like, they
Right.
were just like, wouldn't it be so silly goose of us to interfere?
Yeah. Just come out
Which
here,
it
say
kind of
hello.
was.
Yeah,
Which
no,
it
it was
kind of
definitely silly
was.
goose, that's for sure.
But
Um,
man, the way that Funk Flex came down on the ramp was traumatizing to behold. Like,
right. It
that
looked
was not.
rough. Yeah.
I feel like Rocky was, and I don't know any hashtag new wrestling. It felt like Rocky wasn't far back enough. It was almost like he was too close to the ring and couldn't like really like catch him. And so he went
Maybe.
like over him. Flash Funk went over Rocky. Like, I don't know. But either way, it was
Yeah, but
bad
typically you don't
news.
want to be like catching somebody on an
This is true. So maybe Funk overshot it. Like, I
overshot.
don't know. Yeah.
It could have been a combo of the two, you know.
Either way,
Um,
the only thing that I felt comforted in my heart is that he came from ECW. So I'm like,
Yes.
he's taken some licks. Like, I think he'll
Oh,
be
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
definitely wasn't pleasant, but he's taken hits as Tuco
Yes.
Scorpio. So I was like, he'll be all right. He'll be
He'll
all
be
right.
all right. He'll be all right. Next we get a kind of a preview to the Mankind interview where he is telling us this story about
I
how
love
he
this.
played lacrosse in high school, and he would like push his boundaries as far as like
Wearing like his padding.
not wearing his padding. So he played goalie, which doesn't have like the chest protector or whatever. I'm
But
pretty
a
sure they do.
lacrosse ball, though. A
Also,
lacrosse ball is like a brick.
I read his. It's because he doesn't like team sports. McFoley is not a team sports person, so he played goalies
Really.
so that he could do his own thing and still be on a team. So,
I love him so deeply.
from
And
his
honestly,
autobiography,
the pictures of him when he was young, so cute.
such a cutie, right?
So cute.
Mm-hmm. But back to this heinous story. He then goes on to be like, I would push my boundaries. And like, so after I got rid of the chest protector, I got rid of the cup. And he's like, and I learned my lesson one fine, like May
May
morning.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically he gets hit in the nuts and his testicles swells up to the size of a grapefruit. And he's like, and I went back to school the next day, even though they told me it was going to be weeks. And it was the
They told
only
him 3 weeks.
time girls looked at my genital region. And he calls it one of the best days of his life. And I was just like, okay. What a
Okay.
what a statement. I don't like what are you supposed to say to that? What do you even like what was I supposed to gather from that? Like what,
Oh my
like
god. Like, I love pain and I love women looking at my genitals. Okay.
period. Okay.
Period. I mean, amen. I
Ready? Okay.
love him so much. I love that this is the story he decided to do a dramatic retelling of. I mean, like,
Mhm.
what a guy. What a weird episode this
What
was. What a
a what
weird.
a
How did we get here?
I don't
Like,
beats
and it
me,
was
dude.
the also whatever. Just whatever.
Mm-hmm. Next, they cut to the Hart Foundation in the locker room. Bret Hart's basically doing a little promo on Shawn Michaels, essentially regarding the King of the Ring match that they have. He, reiterates that, at the King of the Ring, he only needs 10 minutes. If he can't beat Shawn in 10 minutes, then he will never wrestle in America again.
I
Um,
like
yeah,
it's
and you're
just a
like,
crazy
right,
idea concept.
which is fun. And then Pillman addresses Austin because they also have a match going on at the King of the Ring, essentially being like, he's like, I know you better than they say, like your best friend is somebody who knows you better than anybody else and still likes you anyway. And he's like, well, I know you better than anybody and I hate your guts. And we're like, okay, cool, got it.
Work.
Got it. Bitter, bitter, bitter. And then Owen chimes in and he addresses Stone Cold and Shawn about their match later on. And his was probably the best bit of the whole thing. He was like, he
Period.
goes, United. He's like, we're going to expose you for the losers that you are. He's like, united we stand, divided you fall. He's like, you guys can't even get along like long enough to not beat each other's face in, let alone do anything. So we'll see you out there. And that's that on that. Next match, we have Vader taking on Ahmed Johnson. The special stipulation of this match is because Vader could not compete in his qualifying King of the Ring match, he essentially challenged Ahmed Johnson for his spot. So this match, the winner will assume Ahmed Johnson's spot in the King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah. They're
So
kind of selling Ahmed Johnson like he is getting to that point where he'll just like never say no to anything. Like they were like I think JR was like, Ahmed Johnson like needs to learn to say no. He's like, taking every challenge and doing whatever, like he's going crazy. Like he's like a madman or whatever. So I
right.
don't know, like I don't know what Genesis is coming for Ahmed Johnson, but apparently he's just like willing to tussle for the sake of the tussle.
Amen. I haven't noticed just like they are weirdly equal in size. Like they
So,
are
so
it is always talked like Vader's size is always talked about. Always, always,
Yes.
always, always. And we talk
Yes.
about Ahmed Johnson like being like strong and all this stuff, but like when you put him like next to Vader, you're like, wait a minute. He's
Mm-hmm.
like taller than Vader and
Yep.
like just as thick. And like
Oh yeah.
and the way that we're like no one ever mentions it. No one ever is like this guy is a freak of nature also. Like
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. And this match I feel like was so equal in terms of strength and
mhm.
agility. Like they were actually surprisingly very good together. Like this match was, I thought, very good.
I thought it, to me it felt like they were like there were moments where I was like, are they actually like swinging on each other? Like what?
Yes.
Because that's what made me think. Like, first of all, that weird like tackle into each other and then like
Oh, that was
rolling
weird.
on the ground for like a
Yeah,
hot
that was
minute
weird.
was weird and felt very like the start of a real fight, you know?
Yeah.
And then there was times where they were swinging on each other where I was like, I don't know that they're pulling those punches. Like, I
It
don't
felt very
know.
mad. They felt very mad. Very
Yeah, I don't
mad.
know. But
Um,
Ahmed Johnson picks up the victory with a spine buster, which I thought was going to
yeah.
be like more. Like we were going to need to do more to put away Vader.
Yeah. Also, like, because spine busts are cool, but also like not the pro river plunge and then the win. But I
Yeah,
guess you
I
don't
don't
have to
know.
do that every time. I don't know. It was good, but like, yeah, I guess like it is weird that it took so little to put Vader away when he's lauded as like the big man, but then Ahmed Johnson is also the big man. Now I'm
Right.
confusing
Yeah,
myself.
it was just like it felt like a rushed ending for what could have been a like a solid match, like a solid showing for the both of them. I just felt like it was like weird. Like why did we like sweep Vader away so quickly?
Yeah, I'm also wondering why like this I understand like the challenge aspect of it of like, oh, I couldn't get my spot, so I'm gonna ask if I can have yours, but also like why him? Like why Ahmed Johnson specifically? Or was he the only one that said yes? Do you know what I mean? Like why would Vader ask Ahmed Johnson?
Because well, Ahmed Johnson qualified first, and
I see.
then Triple H took Vader's spot and then qualified, and then Jerry just qualified. So
Mm, okay.
yeah, so there weren't that many options. It was either Ahmed Johnson or Triple H, and I don't think Triple H would have said yes.
This is true. This is very true.
um, because the way the King of the Ring tournament or the pay per view goes, we'll have the four semifinal matches and then the two. Um, no, I'm sorry, the two semifinal matches and then the final, and
Right.
then blah blah blah.
So
Um,
crazy.
so crazy, so crazy. So yeah, so the Spinebuster puts away Vader, and then we get another backstage promo from Paul Bear. And for some reason he decides to quote the soap opera Days of Our Lives.
Really random.
Really
What was this
random. I
episode?
don't know. He literally he's like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. And I was like, Paul.
While just like tapping his watch.
Yeah, and I was just like, you're not actually gonna quote a soap opera right now. Like that's
Like
crazy.
so I mean really just feeding the fire of wrestling is just soap opera for men.
Yo, for real. But then he goes and what I think is like a nice touch is he goes on to list, he's like, I'm gonna do what no like giant has done. No I don't know. He references like Immortal, basically talking about like Hogan. Uh, uh, the Giant is a past opponent of the Undertaker. The
Mm-hmm.
Giant Gonzalez. He basically named a bunch of like past opponents of the Undertaker. It was like I'm gonna do what they couldn't do, which is like bring you to your knees. And we're like, all right. Um,
Neat.
so more threats from Paul Bear. You know you gotta have something good if you getting all willy nilly threatening the Undertaker.
You
And
have
this
to have a bazooka in the chamber.
that's what I'm saying.
Like a bazooka in the
That's
chamber. Because what also whatever. We'll get to that. We'll get to the end when we talk about Paul Bear, but
fine.
because
All
you know
right.
I'm out. You all know I'm outraged. If you know what happens, you know I'm outraged.
So next we have Hunter Hearst
Hmm.
Helmsley with China taking on Rockabilly with the Honky Tonk Man. It's I'm I am staging a protest against Rockabilly and the Honky Tonk Man. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't want to comment on this ever again.
So we find out that China can bench 350 and
Love.
deadlift 400 pounds. She
I
can
know that's
deadlift
right.
Vader. Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
I love when you put it in context.
Isn't that nuts? Or like
That is
just
crazy.
about deadlift Vader. He's like 450. So like give her a
She's
couple weeks,
close.
I'm sure she could get it.
Yes, she is so fierce. She was wearing a jumpsuit today with like all these cutouts in it, and she had the
Mhm.
pony. She had hair extensions in because normally when
Mhm.
she has a pony, it's just like a little pony, which still love to see it. She said, "Big pony,
Yeah.
hair extensions. I am swinging the locks like she just a big,
Mhm.
silky black ponytail.
Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
Sensational."
Of course, China gets involved. She stops the count. At one point, the Honky Tonk Man's like trying to sneak up on Hunter with a guitar. She runs up behind that man, like smashes him on the back, and then just picks him up and slams him on the outside, like with ease. I love
Ease.
it.
Love to see
Ease.
it.
Um,
Love to see the honky tonk man just get repeatedly beat up.
No, honestly. But then we kind of cut to the inside of the ring because again, that became second to anything that was going on the outside. And Hunter hits the pedigree, picks up the victory, thus carrying on momentum going into the King of the Ring tournament.
Hmm.
And Rockabilly is just still losing. So
It's very sad at this point.
again, why did you team up with this man if he helps you zero? Just saying. Um,
Zero.
then we get a little backstage segment from the Undertaker looking just like eerie AF. Just like it's a shot from like it's a very like a campfire story kind of shot. It's like from
Yeah.
underneath with the light. Um and essentially he goes to like Paul, he's just like, you do what you have to do, I'm gonna do what I have to do. And like that's that on that.
Love that. I
I
love
know.
the Undertaker.
Then we get another um Mankind interview, like the extended one. This is part two of the kind of Mick Foley expose, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about essentially the first, like the match that changed his life. He talked about, and that match is the Jimmy Snuka like cage dive at Madison Square Garden. Essentially, he like hitchhiked and spent all of his money to go to that match. And this, he talks about this like in his book and all of like this is the match that made him want to wrestle. He
I
says
love
it
it.
all of the time.
They had a
Uh,
picture of him in the front row. Like
yeah.
he happened to be in the background of a shot. And I was like,
Hmm.
that is so cool. He said he
Hmm.
hitchhiked 16 hours from
Yeah.
upstate New York to get there. And then to have this like picture immemorial of like him in the first row. Like
Right.
that is just so cool. I love him so much.
And he said that that's what I wanted. I wanted to like to do something in the ring that made people feel, that made people want to love me, to cheer for me, that like I could make them feel whatever I wanted in this ring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he goes on to talk about he's like uh the first character that he wanted to be, or like the wrestler he
Yeah.
wanted to be. He's like, you know, Shawn Michaels, you know, like it's a
So
JR.
funny. Have you
Then
ever
he's
heard of him, Shawn Michaels? Maybe not. Like
um
so funny.
and he's just basically just asking, he's like, he asked me once, like, you know, like, is this everything like you wanted to be? Like, and he goes, no, I want it to be you. And he's like, oh, the champion. And Mick goes, no, like I wanted to be you. Like I wanted to be the one that got all the girls with the looks and the hair and the tattoos and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut to this like all of these like home videos, like this old promo of Mick with in his dude love get up with the heart-shaped tattoo on his chest and everything.
So cute.
Um and it's just like this cute old promo where he's like going off. And then he talks about how he got into wrestling or like started training because he found a trainer, is Dominic DeNucci, and he would travel 800 miles every weekend to train. Um,
Which is like sounds impossible.
yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
feels impossible.
Um, Yeah. So, and then he basically like goes on to just talk about, he's like, and I always thought like when I trained enough, when I did like enough and I like achieved a certain level, like I would get to be like Dude Love. And he's like, but that didn't really happen for me, did it, JR?
Yeah.
Um and then he starts talking about like his time as, he's like, I was supposed to be Cactus Jack for 3 months. It lasted 11
11
years.
years.
And then the interview basically like ends um where we will pick up next time, which is his time as Cactus Jack. So his time
Can't
in,
wait.
they're probably not going to talk about WCW too much. They'll probably talk about his time in New Japan, um, and probably his time in ECW. They might. I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll actually do it or not,
Yeah.
um, but he talks about the first time he got into a ring where the ropes were barbed wire. And he's like, finally, I felt home. Like I felt a sense of home, which is so messed up.
So
And
crazy and
also
so
why
on
he's
brand.
called the King of the Death Match. It's not, it's not, uncommon because he does some horrible things to his own
Uh,
body and other people in this, in those
yeah.
matches.
He's something else. Like he is really like there is really not another brand like
No,
Mankind.
there
I
is
mean,
only one Mick Foley. There is only
maybe
one.
the only person that's coming to mind only from our little Johnson to wrestling or like my little Johnson to other parts of wrestling is like maybe Necro Butcher. But
Right.
like I mean, it's Mick Foley. Like he could
Hmm.
the promos he cuts, like he is just so crazy. The Dude Love is wild because the pictures, like he's literally wearing the earrings like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
He's like wearing the bandana. Like it is so like Heartbreak Kid coded, like before that
Right.
was even a thing.
Hmm.
Um it is wild. And he is so cute. Before he
Hmm.
like broke his entire body. But it's it's just so wild to see like how he ended up as Mankind when he started as like this HBK-esque kind of man who was just
Right.
like, you know, free love kind of dude.
Right.
With the earrings and all. Like I just the genesis of that and just knowing Mick Foley is so intelligent and so tuned into like good wrestling and good storytelling that he just like went with his gut and like went and followed this like whole
Hmm.
like journey is wild. Like I just love
Right.
him so much. And this is like now it's getting like into After Dark territory where I'm just gonna gab. So
Yeah.
we have to
And when we
circle
get a little
back.
further along, we'll go back and we'll learn more in the history of Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Or specifically like documentaries and things. I purposefully have steered clear because he is very much in the time that we are watching. So I
Right. Yeah,
I
totally.
don't
I know
want
there's so
anything.
much I want to know. I'm like looking forward to the day. Like I'm enjoying the journey, but I'm looking forward to the day like certain tea is spilled that I know
Hmm.
is coming and like we can
Hmm.
actually dissect it, but we're just so in medias res right now.
Right.
Like we just
Hmm.
can't. But I'm like, ooh, that day's gonna be crazy.
Ugh, yeah, yes, it will. And then that takes us to our main event, which is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Stone Cold Steve Austin taking on the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart, and the British Bulldog for the WWF Tag Team Championships. This match was amazing.
Oh my God.
First of all, I think we have really in just the area we have been. If you're looking at like match lengths, like we're not getting full bell to bell. Here's a whole story in a match situations. And I get
Yes.
that. It's very much we're switching to, it's more plot, it's more character driven, it's more blah 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 blah.
Right.
And they kind of save the bigger matches for pay-per-views and things. But this
Hmm.
was nice in that we got to see one because it was Shawn Michaels' return match. We got to see the tag team champions actually defend the titles instead of just immediately getting disqualified or
Oh,
whatever,
so
which has
true.
been their MO for the last like 6 months. Um, I just thought, yeah, I thought it was amazing. The pace
Amazing.
was set by Sean. You can tell.
You can tell,
It's
dude, you
it's
can tell.
you can tell because I don't know. You can like because the only person that wouldn't naturally be able to like necessarily keep up with that pace is like the Bulldog,
Right.
because he's more of like the power game. But like it was Owen and Sean to like start, and they set it
They
fast.
set the tone.
They set it
Oh,
fast because from that point forward, the match did not. did not relent.
This, yeah.
Yeah.
One of
What
my
were your thoughts?
absolute favorite matches we've ever watched, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I was shocked in the best way because they're selling it to the last week and all or all like episode long that there's going to be discord. Shawn and Stone Cold aren't going to be able to get their shit together. Like, they're going to be a mess. They're going to be whatever. They were like, yes, there was some little like comedy moments of them going like, well, no, like, you do this, you whatever. But like, for the most part, they were so good as a tag team. Like,
Right.
loved to see it because nothing brings the people together like violence against a common enemy. They were so focused on taking them out in the best way. Like, it was just so good. And how you're saying about like Shawn, the only one that would not be so technical is Bulldog, even though he is incredible
Right.
regardless. He mostly ended up kind of being with Stone Cold anyway, so it's almost like, and when Shawn and Owen
Dude,
wrestle,
dude,
I
I
missed him
can't.
so much. I missed Shawn Michaels so much. We were just talking about this because we did the episode of the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and I was like, literally right now, Shawn Michaels been out with an injury, and I just realized how much I missed him. He is so good. He's so funny. There was like one moment where he went to like hit, I don't know, I think it was Bulldog actually, or whoever, Bulldog or Owen with a clothesline, and instead just stopped and went bink
Oh,
and
it
did
was
the
Bulldog.
double eye poke. Bulldog. I like, he's so funny, and he tells a story, but it was so fast paced. I don't even really have like the words.
It was, yeah, it was
So
amazing. And
incredible.
of course he, like, the way he sells for the Bulldog is crazy.
Oh,
Crazy.
dude.
The
I
what
every time he fell and like did the like flopped over, rolled and
It was
whatever,
like a
I was like,
car crash. He made Bulldog look so strong. And just the
seriously,
way that him and Owen can just go back and forth forever is just truly, like, spectacular. Like,
it's
that
so good.
you can't make that chemistry up. And just and then you just had the added just general rage that is Stone Cold, like, on top of all of it, just
So
flipping
many
off the
birds.
referee. Yeah, like, it's so good. It worked out so well. And it just goes, like, to show, like, as soon as, like, ding ding, like, they're focused. Like, they are the most extra, the both of them. Both Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin are the most extra outside of the ring. Like,
Love.
not gonna lie. Like,
It's so true.
they're both so extra. But as soon as it goes ding ding, they're like hyper focused. It was
And
crazy.
I love that too. I love that you brought that up because if you think about even just like the juxtaposition of being opposite Owen and Bulldog, who are like an established tag team who's been wrestling together forever, and they have more discord in a match than Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold did.
Right.
Like, it says so much about them as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because like we had a whole like era where we didn't know if Owen and Bulldog were gonna break up because we were like, they just cannot get it together, and they're
Right.
like supposed to be the most together tag team as championship holders. Like, they're
Right.
supposed to be the most together, and then you expect all the discord to come from Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels, and they are like heat-seeking missiles, so
Right.
focused. Like, it was just so good, and honestly, like, Bulldog and Owen defending their title again, like at this caliber, where they're like, they were also so focused. There was so minimal tomfoolery, like if any, like there was like
Yeah.
so minimal, like maybe I'll distract the ref a little, maybe we'll do a little like double team, even though we're not supposed to. But like
Yeah. I
other
mean,
than
just
that,
there was
that's
just
standard.
Yeah, it was just as far as, like, yeah, it was, but it was between the four competitors. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the
Yes,
entirety of the Hart
the
Foundation
Heart
and,
Foundation,
like, whatever. They let the match, like, play out as the match played out.
love.
But so Shawn Michaels hits Bulldog with the sweet chin music. Stone Cold is the legal competitor. He comes in, gets the pinfall, 1, 2, 3, and, like, it's like almost like a little confusing because they get the 3, the bell rings, and then immediately all of the Heart Foundation is in the ring. So you're like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what just happened? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
just happened?
Yeah.
Because it took like a second to, like, process, where you're just like, wait, did they win, or are they getting disqualified? Like, what's happening right now? But yeah, so Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels are your new tag team champions.
So crazy. And also, I want to say the almost lazy nature of that sweet chin music, I dare I say lackadaisical. It
Mm-hmm.
was literally like I'm walking by and I'm just gonna like
Yeah.
hit you with the, because he just saw a window and he took it, and then he casually saunters out of the ring and Stone Cold takes the opportunity. It was so good because also it's like, because afterwards they're beefing about, who did what, which, we can talk about, but like it's great because it's like Stone Cold couldn't, quote unquote, maybe he could have, who knows, have gotten the pin without Shawn Michaels actually knocking him out, like with the sweet chin music. Like it really was the two of them, like an effort between the two of them. Like it could not have happened unless they had both participated the way that they did. And like I've been wondering forever. I always be like, I wonder who is gonna dethrone Owen
Yeah.
and the Bulldog.
You
I
have
really
asked
thought
on
it was gonna
multiple episodes.
multiple episodes. I really thought it was gonna be LOD, but this is so good. This is
Mm-hmm.
so good. And the way that the crowd, I didn't know it was gonna be so lit in Indiana. They were feral. They
Yeah.
lost their shit. And honestly, me too. I was like, if I was in that crowd, the way I would be screaming, like red in the face. Like it was really, could not have gone any better. It was a perfect match.
Love to see it. Love to see it. So after that, of course, the Hart Foundation is beating up on Shawn Michaels.
Duh.
Austin's kind of hanging out on the side of the ring, like not really helping, not really doing anything, but he goes and spots Brett at the top of the apron.
What?
And he goes, he literally, with the title belt in hand, just runs up the ramp looking crazy AF just to start beating on Brett. It was amazing.
Tackles him, just
Tackles
takes
him.
him right out. He said I love this because he didn't mosey, he didn't wander over like, hey, like he literally was like, ran,
Yeah.
takes him out.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see it. Love to see
Amen.
it.
So that's the chaos that is all of that. And next we get the grand finale, the big secret that we've all been waiting for, or at least we thought so. Paul Bear comes out, and they're basically like, okay, like it's time. And he starts like going off. He's like, I've been holding this secret for so long, and now it's time. Blah blah blah. Undertaker gong. Undertaker comes out looking uncharacteristically like pissed. Like
He
usually you
looks so
can't.
good.
The thing about this story is this is the first time we really get like human emotions out of the Undertaker.
Ooh.
So I will say
Yes.
that Paul Bear is
Yeah.
kind of unearthing the Undertaker's humanity in some
Hate.
ways, because he has such a history with him. So while we have to grit our teeth and bear whatever this little segment is, um, it does allow for the character to kind of grow a little bit.
Fine.
Fine.
Whatever. The
So
way I literally threw my notebook.
the the way, actually. So Taker comes out, he grabs the microphone from Paul, and he's like, I hate you with all that I am. He's like yes. And like he goes on to list like three more words you can find in the source for hate. And
He and
then
Kendrick Lamar like this.
honestly, so he goes and chokes Paul, and like Paul's like, like dying under the under the weight of the
Paul's
Undertaker.
dying.
And then all of a sudden, like Paul's like on like one knee, he's like finger wagging at the Undertaker. The Undertaker lets him back up, and the episode ends with the Undertaker taking a knee. I know. I know.
I'm so outraged. I'm outraged at this for so many reasons. And number one is I'm mad because the way Undertaker sold it was, I hate you so much. Your attorney's gonna be has to be the one that's gonna have to reveal the secret, because what I'm about to do to you, you're not gonna be able to speak words anymore. Like la la la. And I was like, oh my God, literally throw him. Choke
Right.
slam him, throw him. I'm ready.
just reveal the secret. We can deal with the consequences together. I will hold your hand. Like, we'll be okay. And he's literally like, I hope the fans forgive me for what I'm about to do. And I was like, no one's going to be sorry that Paul Bear dies right now. Like, everyone is going to live happily ever after, Skippy Doodah into the sunset. Like, just do it. And he starts choking him. And I'm like,
great.
Thrill of my life. I'm so happy. Paul Bear is going to die right now. And not that I actually want him to die, but like Paul Bear is going to face bodily harm, and the secret's going to be revealed, and it's going to be so crazy. And then suddenly he, like, just some change comes over him, and he decides to release Paul, and then is like, JK LOL kneels. I just hate it. I just hate it so much because why?
You don't know the secret.
Well, okay, but like, but because also, okay, so Paul was selling his whole thing where he reveals that he was the funeral director for Undertaker's like parents' burial, and then he goes, but the truth is there weren't just 2 graves, there were 3, and that's when the Undertaker comes out and he's like, no, pause, cut the track, stop talking, cut the mic. So I really feel like it has to be a sibling thing. Like, it has to be like there's the evil brother or something. Like, I feel like there has to be some sort of like, because why else would there be 3 graves? Like, with the parents? Because it's not, whatever. I mean, I'm just furious about this whole thing. Why are you afraid of your brother? What did you do? Don't make me like question the Undertaker. I love him so much. Don't make me do this.
Oh, we're good. It's gonna happen.
No,
so,
stop.
So
I can't
that
live
is
like
how
this.
the episode ends. Kelsey can know no more because I will ruin it. And so if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, comment, subscribe wherever you find us. Kelsey is having a meltdown for those of you not watching. And we will catch you next time on the New to Wrestling podcast.
Bye.
Bye.